Hey, what's up, everybody? Frederic Poag here. So, in this video, I want to talk about the sickness of white supremacy, particularly how it keeps folks who adhere to it ignorant. And it keeps them ignorant because they can't be special. They have to be just like everyone else. But before I get into that, please, if you like what I do and you want to support what I do, like and subscribe. It helps me out, and well, it also lets you see my face again, if you're so inclined. Anyway, white supremacy is very much a sickness. It's a sickness of delusion and ignorance. And I'm not talking about just being ignorant because you're racist. I'm talking about its ignorance of reality. For those of you who might have heard, there's a gentleman who may or may not be alive now. His name's Derek Huffman. He's 46 years old, and he and his wife took their 3 children, and they moved to Russia. See, Russia had created this little safe space village for these folks, and it was supposed to be a safe space for religious freedom against the rainbow flags and the gays and all the people that they were convinced were taking over America. Well, only 2 families took Russia up on this offer, and Derek Huffman's family was one of them. They came all the way from Texas, of all places, because they wanted nothing to do with DEI and LGBTQ and all these boogeymen that the right had convinced them were absolutely real and were the ones that were destroying our country. So, Derek Huffman and his family, his wife, their 3 children, young children, I think the oldest is like 13, and they had 11 and 9 in their ages. They go to Russia. And of course, the Russia uses them as a big propaganda blitz. Look at this American family coming over here and praising Putin, praising Russia, settling in. Never mind the fact that they're now immigrants themselves who they previously hated with a zeal in America. Can't speak the language, don't know the culture, don't know the traditions, are very much not Russian, very much American. And in order to get his citizenship much faster, he decides he's going to join the military service, thinking that he would be special and that he would be basically a propaganda mouthpiece. But unfortunately for Derek Huffman, the Russians had other plans. Basically, they felt, well, can't speak Russian, you're kind of useless, so we're going to send you to the front lines in Ukraine with 2 weeks of training. Now, I'm not going to get too far into how the Russians train their troops, but suffice to say, it's not anything like the way the U.S. trains their troops. It's much more substandard. It's based on individual units, not a structured whole or a baseline of training that every single soldier goes through. All depends on what unit you get. Pretty much like they did in the Middle Ages, that antiquated. So, Derek Huffman gets sent to the front lines, not knowing how to speak the language of his compatriots, at 46 years old, with a bunch of other guys who've been trained for 2 weeks and slammed out there, and reportedly got killed by a drone strike, though no one can confirm that. And his family, or his wife, took down their little propaganda page on YouTube. It's been down for about a month. And there's supposedly a chat group that's trying to get the girls to save the little girls and get them home. But here's the point I want to make, besides the FAFO that's absolutely happened to the Huffman family. And I don't think those young girls deserve any of this. Their parents were morons, but those girls don't deserve it. This is the problem with white supremacy and MAGA in general, is they want to be special even when they're not. They want their entire existence to bow to what they want. They don't want to actually live in a real world where you are going to encounter people and ideas that you do not agree with. Maybe people you don't even like. And I'm not taking a stance here on racism other than to say it's wrong and it's idiotic, but there are people that I do not like that I encounter, and I'm forced to live with them. I'm forced to see their posts on, or not forced, but I see their posts on social media. I get comments on that all the time. The world is not structured the way I would necessarily want it to be for me. I've had to learn to live in that world. But people like Derek Huffman, people like MAGA, who don't want to live in that world and who are stupid enough to think that a strong man is going to give them that world, pay a heavy price. For Derek Huffman and his family, it was him being shipped to the front lines of Ukraine in a war that he had no business being in. None of those Russian boys and women have any business being in Ukraine. They were sent there by Vladimir Putin. And we're seeing that now in the United States, in the red states. We're seeing aid being denied, even though it's their tax dollars, taxes that American citizens have paid, especially when disaster comes. Their Medicaid and Medicare is being cut. Programs they rely on. The Infrastructure Act was repealed, causing farmers to basically not get reimbursed for upgrades they made that the United States government and the Biden administration promised them that they would be reimbursed for. Or green projects, industries that sprung up, and small businesses and burgeoning supply chains just starting out, cut because Trump didn't like Biden, didn't have a win, didn't want him to have a win. Or insulin and other drugs that are on with Medicaid and Medicare suddenly skyrocketing. These are all things that we are paying for, all of us, but particularly MAGA and the red states, who are also being hit hard by strategic tariffs from foreign countries because they know that is part of Donald Trump's party, and they're making a point. This is what happens when you're a white supremacist, when you want to feel special and you want to isolate. Derek Huffman, by far, is the most extreme example. But there are countless, tens of thousands, perhaps even millions of examples in this country of people just like him, maybe not willing to go that far, but they want to live in a world that is catered to their whims, to their biases, to their bigotry, to their selfishness. And that is completely antithetical to a stable society. You can't have it. And that's why we need to stop catering to these people. We just need to oppose them. We need to outvote them. We need to out-organize them because they want to live in a delusion. And they will do anything they can to get that delusion, whether that involves cruelty, it doesn't matter. We have to stand against it. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Keep faith, defend democracy, and I'll see you later.